All right. So now we're going to see proof that the Disney programming was something that people knew about in the Hollywood stars out there. Okay, like a Britney Spears or the Mickey Mouse Club back in the 1950s. And the Disney programming was in, like a Paris Hilton. I mean, come on. You see the programming, heavy sexuality, aggressive talents, and I'm sure even that programming in different ways also gave rise to some aggressively intelligent, genius academics. That we needed to develop innovation and then, of course, take advantage of that programming style and develop very talented people that would be movers and shakers in our society. And then you would see also those that don't even know they were programmed. What do you call it? The undetectable mind control people. We learned about that in the conspiracy world. So there's detectable mind control people, and then there's undetectable mind control people. And you wonder where they came from. You wonder how they became so influential, so smart or driven or extremely talented. And you thought they were special. You thought they were, they got the lucky gene. They hit the lottery and the lucky gene lottery. And no, it's all programming. I'm not special. Okay, I mean, you might think that I'm special because of that type of crazy programming of hell to develop whatever it was they developed within, but all of you are now being given the opportunity to experience your own hell, to become special in your own right. But you'd have to manage that hell very carefully so you didn't die from it. And some people are so far gone that even though they have a bunch of hell in front of them, they may not survive it because they don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to take on the hell and release the hell, take on hell and release the hell. And so people will not survive the hell they're in. And so, yeah, it's some pretty crazy shit. And when you're watching me discover the kind of heavy programming I was under and watched me act out my programming even 7 years ago, 5 years ago, Dr. Phil, because who in their right mind would go on Dr. Phil and be eaten alive by an audience that's out for fucking blood? Who in their right mind would do it? Oh, somebody who went through fucking hell. But that hell gave me the capacity to deal with the strategization of my survival in this fucked up environment. Because it is. Why is it fucked up, Jillian? Because I'll tell you, man, when you're dealing with things coming to surface that you're not expecting, or you're fighting your own immune system because you want it to go one way and it wants to go another way, and then you're in this war called resistance and people don't survive resistance. That's a hell that is like no other. Because before, in a slower frequency environment, it wasn't, the growth and all of that wasn't that aggressive. But in a high frequency environment, people can't get ahead of whatever it is they're suffering from. And so it's pretty bad out there. And the reason why I disclose all this stuff that I'm disclosing is because I don't want someone to think that I'm some reptilian, Pleiadian reptilian hybrid that's out to destroy the human race. Because you see that. I mean, when I was contemplating on giving my information back in the 2018 to some Hollywood scriptwriter, people thought I was now a sellout to Hollywood. They completely turned against me and then used the government against me because they thought I was some kind of reptilian or some kind of who knows what the hell. Remember, those stories are all over the conspiracy world. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm not a reptilian, but whatever. I'm not even a card-carrying Freemason. I mean, I was raised in a Rosicrucian type situation out there in Silicon Valley. I'm not a card-carrying member of anything. I'm just a regular person. So I don't want anyone to mischaracterize who I am. I'm not a Mark Zuckerberg. I don't have millions of dollars. I'm not trying to develop a bunker underneath my house. I have a husband who's very relatable. People have met me. Okay? So it's bad out there. My info is insane for some to process. And I'll tell you, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes it's better not to know what you're in for. but sometimes it's better to know. No matter which way you turn, change has to happen, right? And so Mother Nature, she always had rules. It was just the fact that Mother Nature was always reacting to the energy in the environment. And when somebody else has control over the energy in the environment, Mother Nature acts accordingly. She'll either react. So for every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. So if Mother Nature is growing, whether it's through proteins or plants or whatever, and then the environment increases in frequency, then the growth happens faster. So that action of the environment increasing in frequency, then the reaction to whatever is in the environment, such as a plant or an animal or a human, the growth will react accordingly. The growth will be equal relative to what's going on or opposite, and also increase in intensity. Okay? So what do we mean by opposite? Well, it just depends on what kind of atoms and elements and molecules are colliding with each other. And sometimes they repel, sometimes they come together. Sometimes it's entropy where they disperse, and sometimes it's negentropy, they come together. Equal or opposite reaction. Okay? That's physics. That's Newton's law of motion. So, yeah, when people are trying to buy time, right? Time equals microbes. Fertility develops from public exposure or direct inject or ingesting therapies. Buying time does not always give you the time you think you have. What do you mean by buying time? Giving you microbes. Well, you get a therapy. That's microbes. You're buying time. Because those will cause an offspring, an antibody, or something else to allegedly prolong your life. What other microbes out there? Oh, when you're around people and they're giving you microbes. It's fertility. When you have a baby, you think that baby is going to prolong your life, giving you a reason to live. Well, it takes away from your life, but in a slower frequency, you don't see that correlation equals causation until you speed up the frequencies and you see then correlation equals causation, because the timing between each interval of action-reaction is shorter and shorter, and then you see the relationship. That's what people did not anticipate, is they would actually see the relationship of their lifestyle belief systems and religion in a higher frequency environment. And so buying time does not always give you time to you think you have. And so in the old world, those outside your circles of influence were the enemy. Okay? In the new world, those inside your circles of influence are the enemy, right? The poles have flipped. What do you mean by enemy? Because before, in a slower frequency environment, the gifts people gave to you didn't use up more resources than you had. It didn't speed up the process of working so you could enjoy what you were being given. So in a slower frequency environment, you're able to enjoy the gifts that people gave you, their presence, their presence, right? Present, like a present and someone's presence. Like this entity in the midst that's causing now replication, influence. And so you had time to enjoy the presence of people. You had time to enjoy the gifts and the curses and the spells. But in a high frequency environment, people's presence are so bright and so illuminative that are actually sucking the life out of you, causing more of the frequencies in your body to go faster. And so then you don't have time to enjoy people's presence because you're barely trying to stay alive despite being in their presence with the presence. Jeez. And so the poles are flipped. Watch my last video. You will know why fertility in any form is deadly, especially in this environment. And with the way people's immune systems are sustained, people have a hard time releasing the demons. So growth happens or the body is starting to branch off. And that's called cancer, disease, chronic illness, and whatever. And it's a reminder, again, I'm not the enemy. I tried to strategize for all of you. I really did. Now you must strategize for yourself with the info I provided to you. You must know your blood type and predisposed issues and tolerance for pain, change in food. Why do you think everything is coming out now through the internet? Why do you think you're watching Cat Williams and the Epstein and all the things that were once under lock and key, under an illusion, and everything is happy, happy, joy, joy, and everyone's on the up and up, and all your leaders are, benevolent and, corruption free, and then you're finding out slowly that your leaders are just like you. They're not infallible. They've made mistakes. They've done things. They had to have done things in order to understand population. And now you're seeing people that you thought were so Pollyanna and so innocent and so amazing. No, they have their own skeletons. Okay? They're just like you. They just happen to have a little bit more privilege because of the connections. And they were put out there to be used as a tool at first to develop the society that we wanted, to get people to do what they do. And then at some point, when all the conditions are right, you were to see that they were just like you. They had skeletons in their closet that now you're denying that even they have the skeletons, or you're using that as a weapon against them. Well, look at your own backyard. Trump, Obama, you, me, we all have skeletons in our closet. Some hide them very well. Others are expose their own skeletons because they're not as bad. Because I'll tell you, some bad skeletons out there, people don't expose them. They get buried with them forever. So no, I'm not the enemy. I tried to strategize for all of you. I really did. Now you must strategize for yourself with the info I provided to you. You must know your blood type and predisposed issues and tolerance for pain, change in food. That is something I could never have strategized for anyone, and I did try. I'm so sorry. I hope my info helps some people. I am so sorry if it does not help others. I am so sorry. Why am I sorry? Because let me tell you, man, I tried my best. I tried my best to figure out with even the floods and people living in Florida and the coast, how you can strategize your insurance and buying property away from the coast, and why, maybe Ohio or other places inland are much better than living on the coast. And I'm trying to do it for people, but people have to do it for themselves. I can't do it for you. I tried 1,000%. I could not do it for you. I wanted to. All of us are suffering in so many different ways. Just survive the suffering. That's all I can say. Knowledge is power and a suffering. And even though I come from the point of view of a woman, and you might think I'm demonizing the man, no, I'm trying to save the men too. And I'm trying to save the women as well, but I can't save people. I can only offer information from a point of view that I come from. And when you observe history, even the last 20 years, you will see history repeat the next 20 years until the system meets its obligations. Those who don't know the history, even the last 20 years, are doomed to repeat it. And people are, because they have no other choice. They're fucking stuck. They're stuck in an illusion. They're looking for someone to worship. They're looking for a demon. They're angry. I can't blame you. When you're trapped in a body that's working against you, in a system that's trying to cause evolution that maybe you can't afford, and you can't afford your lifestyle, but you've been living it for such a long time and you're trapped in it and there's no way out, well, what else are you going to do? You're going to find some way to gain some kind of credibility for that time that you're in, and you can't even guarantee that you're going to stay alive, because when you look at it physics-wise, some people cannot afford their lifestyle. When you look at it biophysically, they cannot afford it, but their life is their life. They're cured. They don't feel pain, and they want to go and gain as much baubles and fame and fortune. Go for it. Thank you for keeping our infrastructure going. Thank you for being part of all that. Thank you for the commerce. So you are right. Trump was the last of the legit presidents. He had good intentions. He has good intentions. All past presidents had good intentions relative to where you came from. Because if you came from a Democrat point of view or a Republican point of view, then your president that you were voting for had good intentions for you. And everybody has some kind of skeleton in their closets. And if they don't, they weren't qualified to lead. However, it won't matter anymore. The veil has lifted. The system we had is not the system anymore. The elections in the future will be of a circus of events with some twists and turns. Oh, believe me, it'll be interesting. I even heard that maybe Elon Musk might run for it. Or Candace Owens might be vice president, and maybe Trump will be president. Hey, whatever. It doesn't. How are they going to stop the frequencies? How are they going to survive the frequencies? How are they going to survive climate change? How are they going to survive working their asses off in an environment that's working against them? Do they even know their own blood types? Can they afford their lifestyle? But it's not even for me to say. But I'm just saying that now in this environment, you'll see everything that we've been doing the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years is going to be ramped up to such an extent. And we have people who are in deficit, who really can't afford to be out there taking on microbes in public squares will be taking them on, and you'll see people drop like flies. Politicians, their sons and daughters, and even the people around them. And so now it's just watching the circus. It's like, dude, you watch it from the comfort of your own home through the internet, and you realize it's all a game. You don't want to be out there with people because all those microbes will be working against you, and you just watch it unfold. But remember, people's lives are their lives. If they don't feel anything, great. If they are under the influence and they don't feel anything, that's the same thing. If they have the capacity to deal with the amount of exposure to people and the environment and all of that, and they're just, working off all the cylinders and everything, and they're just going, and they're riding the high, let them ride the high. Just observe. But now you understand from my point of view the physics behind what's going on. And the physics behind what's going on, not everyone's going to survive them, but you can't tell them that. So you just observe. And so I hope you're ready. There is no way I can fix it, and there's no way you can fix it. All politicians, Hollywood stars, even scientists and artists will be on display, and the dominoes will begin to fall if they're not falling already. The system is coming down and fast. Just keep your head above water and survive the purge, the Great Reset. I tried so hard. I was so like, oh my God. I tried so hard to warn and help everyone. Fuck. The hardest of all is finding out the person you respected the most has so many skeletons in their closet. Those are in some of the icons, politicians, artists, and everyone people worshipped or worship. The system let you see what they wanted you to see until they wanted you to see something different. So that's why they let Epstein do whatever for as long as he did. That's why they let Weinstein do whatever he did for as long as he did. That's why they let a lot of people do what they did for a long ass time. So your illusions would not be shattered. And then when they're ready for your illusions to be shattered and let the veil be lifted and the curtain fall down, it all happened like a deluge, like a flood. It was the whole Me Too movement was like an awakening. Okay? It's not a coincidence. It's all done in an organized fashion, and it's done incrementally. First it's a trickle, then it's a pour, and then it's a whoosh deluge. Now you're seeing everything. You're seeing even me discover some shit. I'm like, holy crap. Right? The system let you see what you wanted to see until they wanted you to see something different. That's why I'm not surprised how shit turns and changes that quickly on a dime today. Keep your head on a swivel. Not everything is what it seems. Be open to change because it's coming fast. And it's an illusion. Shit, I'm hearing today that there is so many tornadoes and storms are happening in the South, at the coast of Florida, Louisiana, and then also in the South, Georgia and the Carolinas, and all up and down the eastern seaboard. And then we're getting right now hit with so much sleet and rain and snow. Oh, it's going to be insane. And then hearing about the doors in some of these planes, the Boeings and like United and Alaskan Airlines, the doors are coming off when they reach a certain amount of feet, and that's coming out. And people are no one's sitting in those seats, so those seats are getting sucked out, and some people's clothes are getting sucked off their body. How the fuck does that happen in this world? And people are saying, well, it was because of COVID. These are new planes that just came out, done with people who are under COVID or something. And so who knows what kind of shortcuts were happening during that time. But you're like, now, do you really want to be flying out there? Do you really want to be traveling out there? The illusion is coming down. The illusion is coming down. Everything is an illusion. And that's when I'm like, oh yeah, appetite for destruction, use your illusion. Oh, Guns N' Roses, the fucking 80s, right? The 80s. Guns N' Roses, live and let die. Because when I figured out that there was nothing I could do to wake people up from their illusion, the obsession to wake up your friends and family and people around you from the illusions that they're living in, that's why people in the Diet Sunday groups who are like all the anti-Vs are just like, I don't know how to explain it. I can't even deal with, how do I wake up my friends, the sheeple? And you're just like, I'm just like, if you love them, let them sleep. If you respect them, let them sleep. And they'll wake up on their own or they'll stay asleep. There's nothing you can fucking do. Now that you know it's an illusion, you can let people live in their illusions with no obsession to shake them from their illusions. Just survive other people's illusions. And that's the thing. It's surviving somebody else's illusions about life and death and whatever. Okay? That's the name of the game, is surviving somebody else's illusions. That's why I lessen the people around me so I don't have to be subjected and caught up in somebody else's illusions about life, death, and health. Because it's very difficult not to try to convert someone to wake them up. Because they'll try to destroy you as you're trying to save them, and then it becomes resistant, and that's futile. That will destroy it. So people do live in their illusions, and you can't wake them up. You live and let die. If you love them, let them sleep. If you respect them, let them sleep. They will wake up on their own, or they stay asleep. So Guns N' Roses, when you were young and your heart was an open book, you used to say live and let live. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. But if this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give and cry, so live and let die. Live and let die. What does it matter to you when you got a job you have to do? You got to do it well. You got to give the other fella hell. You used to say live and let live. Now it's you live and let die. Yep. Oh, I can hear the sirens out there. I'm sure someone's in an accident for something. And that's why I did that reel. You know, America is live and let die. It's coming down fast. The illusions are coming down fast. And so I'm saying when people say live paycheck to paycheck and spend all their money to the point of being broke by the next pay period, that's like a blood type A and B, because they don't have enough reserves. So they're living on the food, living on bringing on the energy to make up for it. But what happens is their lifestyle and people around them are working against them. They're taken away from their principle. They don't have any reserves. And so blood type O is when you have a certain amount of savings or reserves, so you don't end up becoming broke and hope you get a next meal, because what if you don't? Live like a blood type A and B, but save like a blood type O. In other words, use the energy you have today so you can save for the energy tomorrow. Live within your biological means. Live within your financial means. Live within your intellectual means. If you don't know what you're made up of, you'll live like there's no tomorrow. Supernova and then fizzle out. I live like there's tomorrow. Always leave a little bit on your plate because there's always a tomorrow. But that's me. Some people, they don't have tomorrow, so they're living like they're going to die. So remember when they said you'll own nothing and be happy? That the wars out there are about people stealing others' content or quotes or even skits and artistic ventures. I'm watching those artists out there in the rapper community talk about how someone has stolen their skit, their comedy angle. You know, I mean, my husband is listening to some stuff with Cat Williams and stuff. And so wars out there about taking advantage of somebody else's market share. Remember, I was trying to sue people for taking my stuff, posting links of my book and you know, all that. And I'm done with it. Fucking take it. What am I going to freaking do? At this point, everything is shared. Everything is shared. You know, not everything has to be behind a paywall. I have a book out right now that even an ebook, people can read all online and say whatever, and people will buy it or they won't buy it. I mean, at this point, there's no point in trying to resist what others intend to do. And at this point, it doesn't even matter. Okay? I just stopped resisting that. So my next book, which will be out in 2030, will be an ebook, and do whatever the hell you want with it. I could give a crap. Okay? And so wars out there about taking advantage of somebody else's market share, and somebody else wants what somebody else has. What is it? A little bit of something is worth a whole lot of nothing. A person rather get 10% of something than being a king of nothing. Everything is to be shared. You can't steal what's already developed in the world. You don't own words. Artificial intelligence will take ownership away. It will become a shared experience. And you can develop your own illusions and share them with the world. People will evolve each other because they don't assume they own the image. I own nothing and I'm happy. Even with my house, we have a mortgage. I mean, yeah, I'm not renting, but I owe the bank. I don't own this house. The bank does. And when I own this house, let's say I pay off the mortgage, then I still got to pay taxes for living on this. So either way, I don't own anything. I'm always making sure that I give and take, so that way I'm not taking advantage of somebody else. Okay? So in my world, try selling the government to anti-government people, and the government came down on me a few years ago. I'm in that sweet spot. I'm still subject to the environment and the government, and my government regulates me like you would not believe. Oh, I feel the frequencies. And some of my peers think I'm a sellout. What a place to be, right? They think I'm like some of these people they perceive to be horrific pedos, and I'm like, dude, that's the kind of stupid question to ask. Some troll came on and asked me a question that was really inappropriate. But that's the thing, is when someone lumps you in a category of people that people do not like because they found something that says that they were connected to some child trafficking thing, then they think anyone that is promoting the government is someone who's like a child trafficker. And I'm just like, dude, that's the smoke and mirrors. That's the illusions. Yes, there are some pretty bad people out there. Okay? And, you know, and there's accusations flying everywhere, and you don't know who people are. I just stay home and stay safe. I don't have any kids. I don't watch anyone's kids. And I don't want to have any kids. And that's pretty much it. So you'll see how perceptions will develop realities in people, and then people make false accusations. Why is it false? Because where's the proof? And if you had proof, where'd you get it from? Who gave it to you? What was your intention with that? And so, yeah, so now it's like with this whole artificial intelligence, people's perceptions and all the stories that are flying around, now you either have to take care of yourself, or you're constantly going to be making accusations and constantly be making claims against other people and developing a storyline that came from you based upon what you like to, entertain and feed your brain. And then you see what people's intentions are to give energy to certain things that they say they don't like, but they give energy to it. And so then you see people's intentions through their accusations, through the claims they make against other people. And so if you don't want people to point the finger at you and be like, are you projecting? Then maybe you better watch point the finger at other people and saying that they're this, and that, because maybe there's some skeletons in your own closet that maybe you don't want divulged. And so the system is shining a light on everything. And really, it's stay home, stay safe, protect yourself, protect your kids, and don't make any accusations that you cannot prove in a court of law. And if you can, then let the justice system go through that process. Okay. And so, yeah, I won't let anyone mischaracterize me just because I've had my own hell that I went through, that people are like, what? I thought MK Ultra Disney was only for those Hollywood elite that have done some horrible shit to other people. No, we have people who are undetectable mind control victims that didn't even know that they were gone through some fucking shit until they've uncovered their own background. And they haven't done anything. If you go look at my background, go do background checks on me. Please do. Go look at my Facebook. I'm an open book. I have people on there that I used to be a nanny for, and I worked in different companies, and I hung out with people. And I really did try my best to help people in so many different ways. And, you know, I just because I went through some type of Disney hell doesn't make me a monster. It just makes it there's different programming out there. And some people went through some shitty programming and they end up to become monsters, like a Charles Manson. And there's lesser versions of that. And there are people that are just really trying to survive even their body that went through fucking hell from somebody else. And it wasn't through a Disney program. It was just somebody else using what they thought they could do is develop some fucked up situation, and now the person is trying to survive that hell. So, you know, you protect yourself, protect your own, and face your own hell. So, update, I had hives yesterday. It is 5:37 in the morning. My hives are gone, like I knew they would be. And I wasn't particularly sick or sneezing or coughing or anything. Hives, I said hives today. I'm not surprised. I'll release tomorrow. And so, yeah, the world of people is the gift that keeps on giving. And I have to keep on releasing after I feed the demons. Everybody is communicable. Now, just because you're seeing it in the time in me doesn't mean I'm worse than you. No more cloak and dagger communicable transmissible diseases. You can see the evidence of how communicable people are when you're not cured. Everybody's releasing demons. Everybody has taken on another person's demons. I just hope you survive the microbial wars, because that's what we're in. We're in the microbial wars. We are bioweapons to each other. Okay? And so someone posted this meme about the Asch conformity experiments, were a series of psychological experiments conducted by Solomon Asch during the 1950s. Asch found that people were willing to ignore reality and give an incorrect answer in order to conform to the rest of the group. And someone who posted that have their own belief systems. Maybe they're right-wing, maybe they're Christian. And so they're saying, hey, everyone's doing this, but they're not saying, well, maybe I'm doing this. They're not looking at their own belief systems, who they follow. And so when I said I follow myself, I abide by the laws and the rules. I only listen to government when I absolutely have to, such as taxes and rules of roads and licenses. I have no religion. I believe in science. I understand both arguments, all arguments in science relative to the intention. And I don't follow politics. And yeah, it's for entertainment. Watching people fall for the same bullshit over and over again. But what are you going to do, right? I don't follow anything. So if you're a follower, you probably exemplify what this experiment entails. People use a link and the meme below to justify their own belief system. But remember, they follow somebody else. They don't acknowledge they have been programmed following a certain ideology. And so I literally deprogram myself from the system. Can you actually say the same? So when they said, ask yourself if you're a follower of disinformation, read more about it here. And I wanted to ask the person, are you a follower of disinformation? What's your religion? What's your politics? What's your science? And they'll be like, oh, I'm a right-wing Christian. I believe in Trump and this and that. And I'm like, okay. So what kind of incorrect answers are you giving to people to conform to the rest of the group? And so cured equals illusions. To be cured was to live in a curse. Somebody else will paint a reality for you. So that was the whole thing about being cured. When you're cured, then you don't feel anything. And when you don't feel anything, then you're like, okay, everything's great. And then you had to be programmed by a story or religion, a scientific thought process. So cured equals illusions. To be cured was to live in a curse. Somebody else will paint a reality for you. And the more you resist symptoms, the easier it is for someone else to paint you in illusions you so desire. Okay? When you can't feel what you need to feel to save yourself, you'll fall for the illusions of a savior or Satan. People know they're under attack, but their resistance to feel what they need to feel forces them into a religion of worship. People know something is wrong, and they're desperate to find the enemy and the angel. And that's why history repeats. And so an illusion is a false appearance or deceptive impression of reality. It can also be a false or misleading perception or belief. For example, a child who sees tree branches at night as if they are goblins may be having an illusion. And so I'm like, wow, what's going on is so much deeper than people even realize. Some people figure some stuff out, but they still can't even acknowledge they live under their own illusions, accusing other people of living in an illusion. I know how much I was programmed. I'm showing you the programming that I was under. There was definitely sex programming, and because that was also the public. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Pretty Woman, all the different movies about love and romance and family and sex and love and whatever. The whole, sexual revolution, the family, people that are promoting family, having babies. Okay? So, I know how much I was programmed. I came out with all the programming I knew I was under publicly. I was ridiculed, and I had my hands slapped by the government. I live in no illusion. I live in the painful reality, watching the world I live in, watching the world live in their own religions and illusions. That's my curse. That's my suffering. And there's something for everybody. I mean, that's right. John did say when we were arguing on that, and I had to delete him because it's over with, but there is something for everybody. He's absolutely right. There is something for everybody. I'm not anti-government. I don't go after any group of people. I don't think the Freemasons are evil. I'm not trying to follow a guru to sell you a lifestyle and a belief system. I believe in the pain and suffering and the strength of it if you can handle it and build the infrastructure for it. And some blood types are going to have to change the way they do things in order to survive. And if they choose not to, it's not my fault. Don't make me out to be the enemy. But I'm not a slave per se. I pay my taxes because that's part of what my society is, and I stop resisting. Slaves resist, and then they die from it. If you don't like the situation that you're in, strategize getting out. But slaves resist. Free people strategize their way out of something that they don't like being in. So, oh yeah, Cinderella, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Oh my gosh. Disney. While people are suffering, they need to pluck the gene of happiness. Disney was that programming, that illusion that gave us our society. The clock is striking midnight. Sleeping Beauty is waking up to a world she does not recognize. They wanted you sick, treating disease with neurological issues because you would live in an illusion of an attempt to stay cured while struggling with your issues of balance. That was the illusion. The struggle to survive destroyed you. What if the struggle to survive didn't have to destroy you? What the issue is, we have a lot of adults and children with neurological issues who will not be able to become uncured. And so you see the rise of autism. And it's not just like not even done on purpose. People are procreating on bodies and using remedies and things of that do cause neurological issues. Overly innovated, overly remedied, overly cured, overly exposed to so many different life forms that have impacted the way they think. Because once those illusions come crashing down and then people finally had to feel something in order to release it, the shock could be so astronomical, you would see society unravel so quickly. And it did a couple years ago. Like a dog with a tin can tied to his tail trying to run away from the noise, people would go crazy. Salt uncured people because they were sodium deficient. Remember, people on low sodium diets. They were told only have so much salt, but not too much. Why is that? Well, either you become cured and die suddenly, so they don't want that, or it would wake up the demons within. Well, it was really the wake up the demons within because people weren't taking enough salt to be cured because they were afraid to wake up the demons and then be cured. And you had to know how to handle not being cured and waking up the demons, and that was something people were not trained to do, and so we woke up the demons. And so salt uncured people who were cured. That's why society was so aggressive towards me 6 years ago. When you finally uncure a population under the influence, under a haze of an illusion, they don't know how to manage disease. I broke the spell. Oh, I know. When the clock strikes midnight, everything will be as it was before. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. However, since the poles have flipped, okay, poles, P-O-L-E-S or P-O-L-L-S, choose your own adventure, aggressive saltwater intake will cure people who should not be cured. And then it's a died suddenly. The environment is ionic enough. Climate change is already curing certain people to a point of died suddenly. That's why you're seeing it all around you. I understand what Einstein felt like after we bombed Japan, because when he wrote a letter to the president saying that I'm afraid that Germany is going to develop an atomic bomb before us, then that hastened them to go and develop the atomic bomb and go and use it. And so I understand what Einstein felt like after we bombed Japan, because it was a double-edged sword. We beat Germany to the punch of developing an atomic bomb and using it at the expense of ending the war. In 2016, I woke up the population with salt and people discovered they had to feel something in order to survive. But in this aggressive environment, many people will try to use my protocol as a cure and they won't survive very long in this environment. They'll become cured and they'll die suddenly. God damn. You can't make this up. I didn't know what I was messing with. I was trying to save myself. I wanted to share the information. I didn't want to be selfish. God damn. Even though I saved myself, it doesn't mean others will have the same outcome. God damn again. And so then Men in Black, lose your illusion. Here, President Putin reveals who really controls the USA. You know, I've communicated with one of the U.S. presidents and with the second and with the third. Presidents come and go, but the thing is when somebody does become president, have all these ideas, somebody comes in and tells them, this is how you're going to do it. This is how you're going to do it. Okay? That's what I'm saying. You live under illusion. All of this is an illusion. I knew it even back in the conspiracy world, but how do you prove it? And so then I showed you my room. Okay, I tried to think of my room. I remember my room to this day. It was, yeah, I mean, it was white walls. I tried to tell the AI, image maker, that it was white walls with yellow blinds. So it was yellow blinds, white walls, and there was a regular window, of course, that opened up like this. And there was a little, with the gold trim, white drawing, and it was like a drawing of Alice in Wonderland, like the garden with the centipede, or what was that called, the centipede or something. And he was sitting on top of the mushroom, and it was all like in black and white, mostly white. And you had to look for Alice. She had little legs. So you had to search for Alice because she was hiding in that little garden of whatever that was. Okay. And then I had, Georgia O'Keeffe, white shell with red. And then I had some Indian saying that said, when Mother Earth and Father Sky meeting, joining one another, all is beautiful indeed. So there was that. Okay. And I had, a little stuffed animal raccoon and a white top dresser with yellow drawers and a twin bed with yellow bedspread and white skirt. And we had sheets that like Star Wars sheets or something. And it was yellow, or not, what is it, orange or yellow, I forget. I think it was yellow shag rug or orange shag rug. I don't remember exactly. And I had a toy box, and that was pretty much it. And I had a clock radio and a tape recorder so I can play Michael Jackson. And so so there was a Disney programming. There's a yellow programming. My sister had pink. And she had You're No Bunny Till Somebody Loves You. It's all Disney programming, yellow and pink. We were under totally different programming. Okay? And you knew that was going on back in the 80s because there were so many experiments back in the 80s. Some people live to tell about it. Others are in their programming and they can't really say anything because they're still in the programming. They're influencers and they're paid very well and they can't afford to come out and say anything. And so they're going to live out and die out in their programming because they're in high levels of industries that the only way they can get out of that programming is if they pass away or they get discredited somehow because they were given such a good life. I've been given a crazy life. I had to fucking earn my way to this. So I can earn my way to say this without mischaracterizing it. So that way people don't think that the Disney programming was all bad. It was actually not bad. It was great in my world. I mean, not great, but you know what I mean. I was able to develop something that could potentially save myself and other people if they understood it. But I'm not a violent person. Okay? I'm not a violent person. The system had to program people from being violent and have it be channeled through either sexuality or academics. I was given that gift of academics and then knowing how to use my sexuality so that way I can grab a man or whatever to then give me something to work with, to give me some other path in life. Okay, give me choices. But so some of that programming isn't bad. You look at Britney Spears and she's dealing with her shit. You look at Paris Hilton, she dealt with her shit now. She has a family. You're looking at like Miley Cyrus, she had her own shit and she's still going through her own shit. See, some of these people have gone through the Epstein Island and they're going through their own shit and they're going to have to face, but they were given so much fame and fortune and prestige. And so now they're paying it back. They have to face the music. And they have to come up and be like, well, I may have done this and I'm so sorry, but they're not, they will or they won't, or who knows. Okay, so all that programming out there isn't always bad. It's just how I was lucky that I wasn't shown such crazy ass images. I was lucky I wasn't shown Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I was lucky I wasn't shown the slasher movies at 5 years old. I was lucky I wasn't shown violence as a young person. How many people out there have been shown violence ever since they were able to watch TV? How many kids today are being shown violence through the video games, through the TV, the movies? How many parents are not even paying attention to what their kids are watching? But my parents did. Okay? So the Disney programming isn't all bad. It was a representation, and then everything was programmed differently, so they saw the outcome later on when we turned fucking 50. And here I am. All right, so the RH negs, they are a balancing force to positive, sensitive to paranormal activity. There's something to this. Electric people. The slider phenomenon. Where did I find this? I was going through TikTok. Or not TikTok, Facebook Reels. And some people are so influential that they can actually turn off street lights. But when I saw my husband, when we were in that Red Lobster, my husband sneezed and the lights fucking flickered. I was like, holy shit, what's going on here? I got me a Power Ranger right next to me. It was pretty interesting. And I'm assuming my husband's RH negative. But then, of course, paranormal activity, because that has to do with the influence of the electricity that you emit. And then maybe you're even giving an opening to the other side because of how much energy you hold within. So, I mean, I don't have enough RH negatives to tell me, their experiences out there, and some are dealing with their own bullshit. But yeah, I could see why. Even my husband said that he saw ghosts way back when. And he introduced me to like the ghost adventures, ghost hunters. I got into that for a few years. Like orbs, and he was like, oh, look, orb, and we're watching those videos on YouTube. People are looking at, the energies that are messing with people, hauntings, poltergeists. I'm just like, yeah. People who are highly influential as far as their microbes and their RH factors, RH negative, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense how they may have more of an in touch with the other side. So, yeah. All right. Let me drink some water. All right, so hell and health, okay? Hell and health. Your health is basically hell because when you're around people, you're developing microbes. When you're by yourself and you're around the energy and the environment, whatever it is, the food is going to keep you alive, so you're developing microbes and your body has to go and release the demons or the waste material. So there's always business processes going on. So the illusion that hell is something to run away from and not face was how they controlled your life. Who's they? The system. But you had to face your own hell within your body, mind, and spirit if you were to give hell to somebody else. It had to be through a government-approved protocol, military or medicine. So, but you had to face your own hell within your body, mind, and spirit. If you were to give hell to somebody else, it had to be through a government-approved protocol, military or medicine. So you think about those in the energy healing world, the holistic world, the supplements world, the medicine world. They're giving each other hell all the time. Why is that? Because when you give somebody an antibiotic against a probiotic person, you're developing offspring. That's hell. That's heat. And then people don't know how to release that, and so they're accumulating the hell in their body until an energy shift comes by and does the magic and wakes up the demons, and then people are feeling the hell, the heat, the hives, the heart attacks, the hernias, the herpes. Okay. Leadership means you have experience with skeletons in your closet as well as admirable authentic intentions. A leader cannot be a Pollyanna because they would be taken advantage of by the population they are leading. The leader had to understand the dark side and the light side because that is representation of the people they must understand and cater to. Leadership could not be naive. So that's why leaders get held over a barrel, because for them to even be in that position, they had to go through some kind of hell or even give hell to somebody else. Influencers have amazing intentions, and they had to walk through hell, the gates of hell, to even be where they are, wherever they are. Not everybody can be influential because they either can't face the hell they gave to somebody else or themselves, or they were so nice to everybody because they were trying to hide the hell they were in. And so when you think about it, every single leader out there, I don't care who they are, has good intentions. But as you know, the road to hell is paved by good intentions. So how do we control the population and regulate them so they don't become a hell on earth? Develop an infrastructure providing their own personal hell they must survive and win or lose. Hell equals health. It is remarkable when you can walk through the fiery pits of hell and still survive. And so all of you want to be Pollyannas, think that you're so pure, check your own backyard. You probably gave hell to somebody else, and somebody else gave hell to you, and you had to go and unload on somebody else. Nobody's innocent in the game of hell and health. All of us gave hell to somebody else so we could survive the hell that we're in. You had to be a survivor, a fighter in this world. You had to be a fighter to survive in this world. You must be a fighter to survive in this world. Even your parents, your mother, your father gave you hell way before you even knew you were born. And then in turn, you gave hell to somebody else. Nobody is innocent out there. That's why they call everybody sinners, right? I mean, I know it sounds really pejorative, but that's why the Catholic Church is like, well, everyone's a sinner. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. To what degree have you endured the hell and given hell to somebody else? Even your holier-than-thou attitude is a type of hell to somebody else. If you think Trump is so bad, check your own backyard. If you think Obama is so bad, check your own backyard. Those who have a judgment against any leadership out there, check what you've done to your own children with remedies, surgeries, and things of the like. Some of you have done things you are so ashamed of, you'll never tell anybody. And so the illusion of America and what we represent, we all went through fucking hell. And we all gave hell to somebody else. Lose your illusion or use your illusion, but it's all an illusion. And then the illusion of heaven over hell will give you exactly what you're looking for. Hell was never an illusion, it was real. The illusion was you were never supposed to experience hell. You were supposed to. But you had to experience hell in order to survive. And if you couldn't handle the hell and the health that you were in, you could ask authority to take away the hell so you can go to heaven. That's called death. That would happen over time as you keep asking the system to take away the hell in the health that you're in. Because everything does require consent. The system wants you to ask for your rest and peace. That was the illusion that was given to you. Everything is upside down. But you had to go through hell to even see it. Some of you are facing a fork in the road and you can't tell, and I can't tell you whether or not you should face that hell that you're in. That's up to you and your doctor and your loved ones. Some of you are lucky enough that you won't have to suffer the hell that you're in. You'll just die suddenly and then you'll be happy. Some people don't want to suffer the hell they're in, so they just hope they die suddenly with no pain. Again, it's not for me to determine what kind of hell you should suffer. I just observe everything. I went through, and I'm watching the rest of the world suffer what they're going through. People are facing the fork in the road, and I give them all the best energy in the world to make the best choice for them. And so, the color yellow is a programming, and that is hell. That's fire and brimstone when you think about it. And it represents the type of hell I had to face every single day. I remember as a kid with my stomach hurting all the time, blowing my nose during spring allergy season, nose bleeding all the time. Oh, it was fucking hell as a child. And then all the programming on top of that. It made me stronger. Alice in Wonderland made me wonder, develop my imagination. You know, sitting here in the middle of my floor with my hands folded because I was punishing for something, and I'm just looking at everything around me, and I'm just in my head thinking about everything. Oh yeah, that was hell, but it was a programming. And my health issues made me fucking stronger. It was fucking hell, but today I'm not in heaven. I'm not in hell. I suffer a little bit, watch people not understand what's going on. But I am so much better than I was 10 years ago. All due in part because I faced the hell I was in. And I survived walking through the fiery pits of fucking hell. I survived my peers. It was not the government who was torturing me. It was my own fucking peers. I've survived all of you, and you survived me if you're still living. I'm living to tell about it. So I can only imagine what all of you are dealing with, trying to survive your friends and family and strangers and trolls on Facebook and YouTube. I know you're in hell, but that's for you to figure out how to survive it. And I'm not projecting because no one's immune to their peers. Some people are just heavily under the influence, but they're dealing with their own hell, or they wouldn't be under the influence. Yellow is not just cheerful. Yellow has another side to it. But you have to experience it and know what you're experiencing before you understand. So the color yellow has many meanings, including joy, happiness, humor. It also can symbolize optimism, energy, and friendship. Danger. Yellow can represent warning or caution, such as yellow lights, hazardous, tape, or yellow cards in sports. It can also be a symbol of illness and danger, such as jaundice, malaria, and pestilence. Other meanings. Hell can also represent intellect, idealism, imagination, hope, sunshine, summer, gold, philosophy, dishonesty, cowardice, jealousy, covetousness, deceit, friendship. Negative meanings. Yellow can also indicate jealousy, betrayal, egoism, and madness. Yellow is strongly associated with food, often evoking tearful feelings. So choose your own adventure. It's Disney programming. And so some of the Disney programming doesn't have to end up to be self-destructive, but the individual would have to be strong enough to know they were programmed and to release the programming and walk into the fiery pits of hell to release it. When you can survive intentional Disney programming, heavy programming, everything else is a walk in the park. Then it's time to develop strategy to survive the world you're forced into. Those of you who went through the hell as a child, that was a gift, especially if you're still alive on my page. Because if I can survive the shit that I went through the last 7 years with my peers, the last 49 years with my peers, not the government, my fucking peers, some of you have a chance. It just takes one person to survive a situation to show others you don't have to die from extreme situations. You just have to strategize your survival. Survival is a strategy. And those who went through hell as a child were given the conditioning process to survive the hell as an adult. Survival is a conditioning process. To earn your place on this earth, to be a free person, you must condition yourself to survive. The free ride is over. It's just a matter of time. And so I disclose all this to you so you don't think I'm some weird reptilian person from another galaxy forced to come to Earth and destroy humanity. And so people cannot relate to Mark Zuckerberg or Gates or even Musk or Trump or even Obama because they are hardly relatable. They have millions of dollars. And so you think they're reptiles or something else. I had the same programming with different intentions. I'm not rich. I'm just like you. I'm not special. I'm just like you. We all have been programmed under heavy fucking programming. I just acknowledged programming I was under and I took it out and changed it out. Okay? That doesn't make me special. It's that it says that you have a chance if you're willing to change. Again, I'm not special. Survival is strategizing your survival, not poking fun at someone or saying, oh, they're special or stupid or, oh, they're different. No, I'm just like you. The only difference is I'm aware and you're trying to become aware. Or I'm just some entertainment piece for you to laugh at behind my back. And so, last thing before I get off here. So Disney was the illusion. It was the programming. And they built in self-destruct and aggressive sexuality. I know it. I recognize it. I even see it out there. You think your programming came in organically? No, honey. Your parents were programmed, and then all the TV and the articles and your peers reinforced the programming. And then when it was time to self-destruct, you'd also follow in lockstep. This has been going on way before the turn of the century. The planning, the programming of people happened way before your grandparents. And so now, as the veil is being lifted and the frequencies are turned up, you're going to see people realize the programming. Some will not survive it. Others will have a chance. Others will have to strategize their survival given their blood types. Others will have to live out whatever it is until they use up every resource in their body, and you hope they enjoy the ride out. But I'm telling you, the only way to survive this, if you can handle it, is going through the pain and suffering and managing that through the medical system if you need to, and eat food and change the way you do things. And if that is not something that you can do, then you will do what you got to do. But we've all been programmed. But you're going to have to figure out if you can handle releasing that programming and reprogram yourself. And I knew how programmed I was because I remember when I was studying for the insurance exams, I would block everybody out. I would block everybody out, everything, and I would just zero in. Like when I was writing those lines or sitting in the middle of my floor when I was a kid, just focusing on, or even writing those book reports, those 13 book reports one summer. So when I was studying for those insurance exams in California and even Ohio, I would block everything out and I would just memorize, straight up fucking memorize everything with such an intent to just program myself into this information for short-term memory. And I would be like a zombie walking into the testing center. And I would be in that mode, and I passed the test. Because I knew how to program myself. And then when the test was done, I forgot everything. And so there's long-term programming that you're seeing right now in people, and there's short-term programming. And when you understand how programming works, long-term and short-term, and you realize there's long-term is what's in your shit. Short-term is when you intend to block everything out, but then just only focus on that one thing. You can do whatever the fuck, you can do whatever you want. You can do anything within physics and the environment. That's the whole J world, is realizing how much programming you're under and if you're capable enough to deal with that and face the hell of your health. Good luck. Bye.